what their final placement was. Anyway, I'll take you through a few of the things I've written here, and I do have a couple of things to add. If I can try to make my report. Anyway, here we go. So the roofing projects, two of the attachments. So on one, I did an engineering report they did of the elementary gym. Yeah, that's that one right there. Scroll a little bit. So a lot of that information is general. There's some gaps that have formed, but I wanted to show them the pictures mostly. There's these big glulam beams, and yeah. So yeah, they have all that open. Now it's even more than that. All the sheeting is gone. The insulation, they said too, it was like R11 or real thin, and they're going to replace it with R38, I think, or something like that. Real thick stuff that would be better.
But that's only on what they open up.
Yeah, that section right there. So
it's really good. And a little chunk of it.
And they have all these bracing, scaffolding that's bracing all that up right now, supporting it, so they can wrap it with carbon fiber. Yeah, and also that middle vent is being removed, taken out. I was talking to the contractor about it, and he thinks maybe the whole, from the start of the build of that gym, that there's a block wall by the attic on the west side of that gym that probably could have caused some of the issues with that gym from the start. That's caused the separation. As the whole thing moves, that one side couldn't move. So anyway, that's what that is. A few more pictures, Steve, if you could show them. Some of those joists were loose as well. So that they will be replacing not a lot of water damage, so I don't believe in this report. It talks about it. A few of these joists need to be replaced, and some of the sheeting needs to be replaced. But all in all, it's pretty good. Those joints, that's one with the gap, so that's what they're wrapping with this fancy carbon fiber. They were supposed to have the crane and everything here this week, but there was a delay, so they're planning next week, which is good because we would have, as an extra precaution, had to move some classes because this crane is huge, I guess. And even though they take all these safety precautions, there's still a risk that, and we were going to move kids, but we don't have to now since it's going to be next week. So yeah, that's what's being done. So since all that's open, they have that temporary roof built up there. You had to scroll through those pictures in case they have any questions. One of them had a crack. One of those joists actually had a crack. It's cited in this report. Some of the glulam beams have minor cracks, but I think that's typical. Like this one had I don't know if that's a crack or something in it, but they didn't say anything about replacing or checking it with epoxy or whatever. So yeah, but currently there's all these bracing. I have a few pictures of that. It's not uploaded to this, or you can just walk over and see it if you're interested. We're hoping to get back in this gym. It's important for all the activities and sports going on right now to do it as soon as possible. So January. They're moving their assembly tomorrow. The old gym, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So it's taking a lot of extra work on Daryl, but we appreciate it. They had this vent was already blocked off and boarded up, so it was inoperable, essentially, not being used at all. Okay, we've shown the other roof just real quick.
Are they going to put that vent back to operation? Or?
No, the decision was made to remove it after several discussions with Mr. Mosier. And the reason is, I was inclined to leave it and try and use it, but evidently that gym gets plenty of air, plenty of ventilation, and when it was originally installed, they had these swamp coolers at that campus. They're metric. So to equalize it, is probably why they boarded it up. It's very loud too, I guess. Last time it was in operation, but it's gone back and forth. Go ahead. Do you have anything to add?
Well, yeah, and that was a concern. It was designed, and it wasn't engineered for the air conditioning and the balance and so forth to have a vent there. So we thought, not mess with it.
I was inclined to leave it, but after taking a consensus from everyone, like it wasn't needed. Basically, I originally talked to Mr. Hutchins about it. Mr. Moser, you don't think you'll be using it at all? You don't really want it?
Well, if it's just a ventilation for air comfort, then it's not a big deal. I didn't know if it was a ventilation for structure purposes.
Oh,
yeah.
It's been boarded up, or who knows when.
Yeah, and that's one only deal. As long as it's not a structural purpose, then
This will make it stronger, is what I understand.
less holes make it better.
Yeah, that was kind of the consensus too.
yeah, an area that could leak or something. Yeah, they did say that. Okay, this is the high school gym or whole campus roof, and just some progress being made on this. Their reports have come through that the inspectors haven't found much, and they're almost done completely. Just scroll to some of the pictures. It's this white TPO roof that they're installing. It's going pretty good. There's an insulation board that goes down first. It has rib profiles in it, which was something I guess we were fortunate to have the SFD add for us. But one thing that we've had an issue with was some ceiling tiles that have come down, just been knocked loose, and it was a concern. And I think a lot of it came from when they were loading material or moving materials from one part of the roof, walking on part to unload another area. So that's been a problem, but they are going to make it correct. In order for us to have games and things this week and continue classes, our maintenance staff has had to secure all the ones that look like they were about to fall. So they've stepped up and done a good job. Eric's helped them identify those. But when they're done, they're going to come back and fix any reusable ones they'll put up or get new ones put up there for us, the roofing company. Yeah, that's an overview picture. I don't know if you have any questions on this. It'll be nice to have a big chunk of our campus done there. The only thing we'll be lacking really is the bouquet.
It will be what?
The bouquet is about the last thing, maybe the bus bar. So that'll be good, I guess. I'm excited to see that. It's been an inconvenience on the teachers. It disrupted some learning when we had those tiles falling and things. So,
I start teaching about gravity.
Yeah, risk and dangers too. But yeah, if you have any questions, so this is just one of many reports they send us. They make, I think it's
Every week.
Yeah, just about every week. So they're good. But the tile kind of were that was missed because they, for whatever reason, they're not going inside to inspect, and they wasn't on their radar. So I had to tell them. Anyway, moving along here. Stop me if you think of anything with the roof projects, but fire systems, we're busy working on that. Maintenance has to get some things done with that before January, and Eric and other people are working on this, trying to make sure we get it completed. So Daryl also has been working on his panel and all that. We have them scheduled, but we are also getting the run around a little bit with like a fire curtain situation where you know, we were told one thing and then when we question it, they're not responding. So, and we got to figure this fire curtain thing out. So.
At the auditorium?
Yeah. So I guess it's hard to operate manually, which is the kind of system that we have. And it has to be dropped in order to test it. They didn't want to drop it and test it because they said the hardware was loose on the anchors of the rope. Well, then now it's been tightened. So, but they haven't responded. So I don't know if we want to try and drop that. I mean, I've never dropped it. I think Carol may have. But if they're not going to test it, we got to find somebody that's going to test it before we drop it.
It's coming down.
So it's been a little bit of a headache, but Eric is working on that for me. And if he doesn't get a commitment from somebody to test it this week, I'm going to have to find somebody else to do it, a different company. But yeah, a lot of things with that, little things with the fire compliance that we're working on. We're doing a test with some artificial turf at the elementary campus. I'm kind of excited about that because I think it could be good for us. I've heard that a lot of people are having questions about it, but when you go out on our elementary campus and look, there's plenty of areas that neither grass nor sand that we can use this stuff on to see how it's going to work. It'll be better for the kids, better for maintenance. So we're just getting it. The thing is about 25 by 7, the roll that we're getting. Anyway, that's kind of looking forward to seeing how that will work for us, and maybe we'll expand it. Probably never to the playing fields, but for these ornamental, like the playing field at the football or the softball. Never say never, but I doubt we would do that anytime soon. But these other areas, especially where there's no grass, I think that would be preschool playground, another area I think that's viable. We are, and I do have an update on this bullet point, the vehicles. So it's been a very long time since we purchased vehicles. We've been kind of pushing that off as long as possible. The best vehicle we have, I was it like a 08 or something? I don't know what it is. Anyway, we're ready, and we found some. What I wrote here was the Honda Accord, but since then, I think Steve's found a better deal at Finley Auto down in Phoenix.
No, it's Lisweer.
Lisweer.
Finley is the Flagstaff.
Okay, that's right. And so this is a better deal, and it is a
Nissan Altima.
Similar to, and even though it was used, this one I just had a few miles on it, I think 200 or so. It didn't have many on it at all. So it looked like a very reasonable deal for us. So we'd like to purchase that one. I think it's a 2022 still, or 2021. Probably a 2021.
Remember?
I did look at it. I think that's what it is. But anyway, so that one, and then we were also looking at some other options. But this weekend we did come across, and I didn't think we would, an electric vehicle that is available at the same dealer, Lisweer and Tempe.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's a used Kona, and it's a
Hyundai.
Yes, Kona. And I know there's some feelings about electric vehicles. That's why I'm telling you now. We can talk about it. But we do have a station, and there's some predictions of gas prices going up. The range on this thing, it's used and it has about 2,000 miles. There's one that has 2,000 miles and one that has 8,000. Still has warranty on it. It is seats 5 seat belts. It's a small SUV, 250 mile range on the batteries it currently has. I'm ready to take a chance unless there's major objections by the board.
Why did the people trade it back in? My God.
They probably got a Tesla. No, I know.
This dealer, and by the way, I mean, I don't have any ties with them or anything, but I bought several cars from them and had great experience with them. But kind of one of the things they focus on is they'll get cars that people have bought new, and then they returned because it had something that they didn't like about it, and so the dealer had to take it back and give them a new one. And so and sometimes there are things, the things that actually, that need to be fixed, but they've been fixed under warranty and everything, but they're hugely discounted.
They give you a Carfax on it?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
So that they didn't tell you why. Because when I bought from them, they told me why
They
they traded it in.
yeah, they do tell you why.
I think by law they have to tell.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I've been looking at so many cars. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah.
I've been looking at so many cars that it's like. But yeah, that's one of the things. Before we finalize, we're gonna make.
Yeah, let's make sure that.
Yeah.
One other reason I thought it might be good to take the leap right now is after December of this year, they're going to charge new fees for any electric vehicles in lieu of the gas tax.
Oh,
Gas taxes and registration fees, but you're grandfathered in if you do buy an electric vehicle prior to December 31st. So there, and it looked to be significant from the article I read on that. So I don't know, it's just another reason that I thought of when we came across this. So the plan is right now to get that Ultima and then this one. See how it goes. The price on this one, I don't know if they officially gave us the price on the lower mileage one, but it looks like it's about $38,000 for that electric SUV Kona.
That's everything. The fees and taxes
and we got all these cars. If we don't trade them in on this, which we probably won't, we're going to try and sell them at auction because used cars are going at a high rate right now. So he thinks maybe get a lot of money.
I agree.
At auction.
Never trade a vehicle in, you're just giving it away.
So we're ready to do that. If we, regardless, purchase a car. But anyway, so that was kind of a surprise. When I wrote my report, I didn't have that information on electric car. But and like I said, we don't have to, but it might be a good idea. There's a different SUV that is for sale at that same dealership. That was seat 7, and that may help our coaching and our sports teams a little bit more with the extra 2 people that would fit in that. So
what's the difference in the mileage that we're going to get though, and the cost? Because I would think it would be a bigger vehicle, and I don't think that the 2 people is going to make the difference.
We originally looking for a minivan, and the one we found was like $10,000 more than this SUV, and I couldn't find one that this dealer guy was looking at. I mean, I know there's other places to look. But they normally stock at 15 or 20 of them stock. They had one, and by the time I got there, they had sold it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how much is that Kona going for? 38?
Yeah, the one we're looking at is like 38.
Chevy Equinox, 23.8.
Wow.
Which would be about comparable.
Is that a
gas ride?
gas?
What's that?
That kind of looks like about like that, yeah. And that's a new one.
It what it says, starting MSRP, 23.8. So,
But don't we get, like, don't we get money or something from somewhere for going with electric, other than the fact that we've got this station here? But isn't there a bigger reason why we were looking at that?
The only other reason was that, being grandfathered in for those fees.
Oh, and then the maintenance is gonna be lower on it.
The maintenance what?
Maintenance will be lower.
The maintenance will be lower?
Yeah, maintenance will be lower and the fuel cost. Because there's no engine to maintain.
there's no engine out at APS either.
What?
Have coal engines.
No, they have, it burns it and it turns the thing. But what I'm saying is no matter what it is, the moving part, it has maintenance. Now,
It's just not as many moving parts.
the bigger problem with it is when the maintenance is required, where do you take it to? How much does it cost per trip? And that's the deal. It breaks down who repairs it. Closest is, if you're lucky, Flagstaff. But it may be like that Sprinter van that the school had a few years ago, and every time you had a problem with it, you had to take it all the way to Prescott. And so we spend $10,000 more to buy it, hoping to have less maintenance.
There were issues now.
But in reality, it could cost a lot more.
If we had a dealer out our back door, then it'd be a little better argument. But I mean, it breaks down. No mechanic around here is going to even hardly let it get in their driveway. So it's a tow truck to wherever you got to take it to.
True.
Where do people get their hybrid cars serviced around here?
Huh?
Where do people get their hybrid cars serviced around here? 'Cause those are electric too.
Wouldn't know.
Hybrid cars?
Hybrid. Hybrid.
Hybrid cars, reservations.
I would guess Flagstaff, but Sholo possibly does. I don't know.
We ain't have no hybrid cars.
But from my understanding,
I have one.
six.
Flagstaff.
Finley Toyota, I think, services the Toyotas.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they service.
And the Hondas.
What are they?
I'm personally leery of electric cars. I just hate for one of our.
Or at the station.
I love the station idea, but I would hate for one of our staff members or whatever, just be stuck somewhere. I mean, especially if they had kids too, that were just.
Well, they get stuck no matter what sometimes.
It's a 250-mile range, so I mean, you're going to set yourself for Flagstaff at worst. The only big panic you'd have about that is, if anybody pays attention to what's happened lately,
Right.
if a wreck happens, ain't no one going to be able to bring you 5 gallons of electric fuel to put into it. You run out of juice, you run out of juice.
Well, the only time that, and recently would have been a concern because it was so cold, they would have had to run it to keep the kids warm. So I agree with you because there's been a lot of wrecks around here lately.
In
Off
town,
the interstate.
I mean, if it's just bopping around here in town, maybe Holbrook, Winslow, you can stomach it. You send somebody a 250-mile round trip, you're sending 160 just on the freeway. That doesn't include stop time and all that. I mean, I don't know how all that calculates in there. It's
Good point.
a little bigger gamble than I like to play with. If it was my kid sitting in that car, not just driving myself. No, we're not going in that out there, I guess.
Well, we could use the 2 extra seats anyway. Let's plan on getting that one with the 7 passenger. You know, what was it called?
I can't think of it right now. It's a Hyundai. No, it's a Kia.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the original plan.
I would, if I can. And you guys have mechanics you deal with. Quite honest. I mean, this is just what I do. If I look at something, I walk up to them and say, how stupid am I for even looking at this? See what they say, that long-term repair is on it. Not the dealership, the guy that's trying to sell it to you, but the mechanic's going to use. Because to me, the guy who's going to repair my stuff plays a bigger key on what I buy than, because if I can keep him happy, he'll fix it cheaper. I don't care if he is my brother or my friend. Well, I'm going to have to buy Cummins instead of a Duramax next.
Smart choice.
No, really, but it makes him happy. Ask him. He said buy a Cummins. Sorry.
No,
I just really think on the buses, on all that, I mean, if we're using them, they ought to be inclined to give us their opinion if they're going to be the ones to fix it. If they can't give us a decent response in a decent time, then maybe we need to find a different one.
Yeah.
But even the same with the buses. My dad ran that GSA. He had 100 buses in the fleet that he oversaw. So not to tap into a free resource and say, hey, you know, which one of these are the biggest nightmares? Even though he's kind of been out of it for 10 years, he still has that background that we can use.
Sure. Absolutely.
The only problem I can see with that, and we need to do what we can, and I've never had a problem getting a hold of our local mechanics, but we've got to move quickly, because chances are when he calls tomorrow, those vehicles they just told us about will be gone, because things are selling quickly.
Yeah, that was another reason. Yeah,
The
that's
price
why we wanted to move.
going up, yeah.
And I think we should just give them, they know our general feelings. I think we need to give them permission to buy what they can fill our needs with, and not come to us. Because if we don't, we're not going to get anything.
No, I just want the best research you can do, because
Right, and I agree. They need to try, and it shouldn't take more than just a very short time. And then, but they need their hands are tied if we don't get.
well, I agree. They could walk into one of them and say, what about this Kia? And they say, it's all great unless your engine blows up because can't get one out of China for 6 months.
Right.
Then you take it back and go, is it worth the risk? And that's something like she said, I think you guys could say, it's worth the risk, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the input. I think things are going to start jumping in price. So
Every time.
we're due for vehicles. And later on the agenda, we got these buses, so we'll save that. There's a coal community transition summary that's attached to my report for you guys to review. It's good information there of all the comments that people made at those meetings. I did see bring your attention to, I saw an article where Bill Gates, they had mentioned these people from ASU that were here leading our meeting, mentioned this community in Wyoming that was about our size, and they had a coal plant that got decommissioned, and they received like a $10 million transition to do some things in their community. Well, that same community, Bill Gates is starting his first nuclear power plant in. And so I was like, wow, and it was about our size, and he's investing, I think it was 12 billion, some amount like that, but pretty interesting. I actually asked had the email the ASU Amanda. Anyways, and she said that actually might be too big for Joseph City at point like right now, because of how many construction jobs and all these things that would take. And she's one that's been telling us to aim big and stuff. But she's like, that would be a really big project for a town your size, and that's what that Wyoming town's taking on. But anyway, I didn't know if anyone was interested in that, but I did include that in this report. We haven't done anything recently. I probably will let it sit until January. Is when I might start seeing if some of those subcommittees want to do any more research, put things together. We'll help them compile them. We're looking at a project on doing some musical instruments for the kids. to help parents with the cost of renting. The district hasn't purchased any for a while, and if we could afford it, I think this would be a good thing. However, I got an estimate from Mr. Hutchins, and it was quite a bit. He did some research for some of the basic things. He would let, like, a kid got it as a freshman or a seventh grader, they could keep a tuba all the way through. But the instruments he listed is about $28,000. I hadn't told you that amount yet either.
Well, actually, I'm not surprised. That's what, yeah, we were kind of talking about the rental thing.
Well, we have parents that if you can't afford an extra $100 a month, some of them are paying rent that much on these instruments, and it's tough. So anyway, we're looking at that program. I just wanted to inform you guys of that. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them. We're looking at an Oculus VR project to start. And these are goggles they put on. You guys might be familiar with this. Kids could take field trips and do things with them, and it's going to be like an enrichment activity to start with. We think we're going to order probably about 6, half a dozen, maybe a few more, and it'll be like a reward for these kids. The teachers can check them out, or check them out for a little project on a Friday for the kids that performed well, something like that, and they can take a trip to the Great Wall of China just sitting down there at their desk, goggles on. Sounds good to me. I think it'll build excitement with kids. Principals like the idea, I think. Excited about it. We'll have to put some restrictions on there. We don't want it. There's a lot of gaming where they can go around doing killing, or I even saw some software where they do autopsies, and you want to be careful with the age group build. Yeah. A lot of drinking fountains were installed at the high school. I wanted to point that out. We got some new estimates for the track. $500,000 is.
Why don't you send that on over to Bill Gates and let him worry about it?
Okay. I'll try. No.
That's up from last time, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, don't worry. Next week it'll be up higher. It's
Sure.
too much oil base in that puppy.
And I got an estimate for a swimming pool cover, just because I don't like having any kind of discussion without having some kind of idea. But it's quite a bit of money, so I don't know what the return investment, probably not good, but at least we know now, 500. Gym floors being worked on over the winter break. We have some ceiling work being conducted, and then we were also going to see if we can do some football field lights in-house, because there would be huge savings if we could do a plug-in LED conversion out there. The hard thing is, 40 or so feet in the air. It's pretty high up there to get the work done. Already mentioned a couple other things, but last thing I have written there is they are coming to do, we have an engineering firm coming to do a feasibility report on converting the HVAC system from a two-pipe system to smaller units at classroom-based size. So they're going to be looking at that. I think that's January 12th. So, yep. Unless there were any other things on my attachment, but I think that was all of my report. Thank you for giving me that much time.
One time you talked about the APS and the football field lights, and you said that you were going to get back with them to see, and that's not an option.
They haven't shut the door, but they have some kind of apprehension. They said it at one time, they thought it might get approved, but they're still.
I wonder if it's something, if we move forward and got some momentum behind it and we're ready to do it, them to say, hey.
They very well may not have a screen out there.
Okay.
That may be part of the problem, but don't totally give up, because they could wind up having equipment out there.
They told me it's at the corporate level and has been for a while. They're just kind of holding it there, whatever that means. Which is fine. I just don't like waiting. You know, if we wait on something like that, then if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the ducks were all lined up and all they had to do was show up and change them over, or you know, pay the bill or whatever.
If it's at corporate, no.
And we're gonna have to get them cleaned and repositioned this summer anyway. So, that's why we're looking at that.
That's a good idea. Anybody else have any questions? I'm guessing no one's on the thing because no one else is here. I motion that we approve the consent agenda items for all, I think it's all of 4s.
4A through 4G,
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? I have a couple of questions. The school basketball, the high school girls basketball fundraiser,
D.
is that, apparently it's the second one. Is it, I'd like to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah. It may not be the second one.
They're on the gym right now.
All of them have to be approved by the board, but the first, what we decided was the first one on all of them could be administrative approved and then ratified by the board. If my memory serves me correctly, this is their first one, and it's a free throw-a-thon. So, and this girls team is actually undefeated right now. They're doing very well. And I think these girls just want to shoot free throws and see if they can get some people to
Kind of like a walkathon or something?
Yeah.
Free throw-a-thon.
They're doing really well. They haven't lost yet.
That's a,
The funds will be used for hotels and team apparel.
yeah.
Save their parents a little bit, maybe.
Is that for another, because I thought they already went to their tournaments that they were allowed to this year.
Yeah, it could be the state tournament they're talking about.
The youth club funds from last year.
Okay.
They're like,
It says a Boyd Baker tournament.
yeah, that was the Tucson one. But they probably would like to go to it next year too, so it helps them, you know, when you're out. Have a young team too.
Okay. That was the only thing. Any other discussion?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys are different than I am, but you know, I don't have a problem with getting more credit cards, but $100,000 limit is way up there.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's probably more than we need, but our bank, Bank of the West, this was like a year ago when I started this process, so I'm not sure I'm getting all the details right, but in order to set us up as a business, on a business account that has all the features that we need, it starts at $100,000. So I said, well, go ahead and put it through and see what happens, and they approved this through their actuary, and so now the only thing that they need is an approval from the board, a resolution from the board. But what it's been a real big problem for us, by the way, what we've got right now, and it gets worse every year because we buy more and more. Well, as our budget goes up, we buy more and more, and the prices go up. Credit limits have stayed the same, and so much is done online, and that's really like the only way you can buy a lot of things online and get the best price. So we end up not getting things sometimes or paying more for it because we don't have the credit limit available.
Our current limit is 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
So this is a jump from that to 100. Oh yeah, I know it's low.
Yeah, by the time you add the cards to get these cards, by the time you add
And it is a risk. I mean, if my name's on
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, you really want your name on that?
Well, and actually for that reason, I had them split it so that it's actually two cards. One is
So you get 50, you get 50?
50,000 each.
Oh, I'd almost make sure.
So you don't, and those are cards that we would, yeah, those are cards that we would not, lend out to somebody to take,
Amazon order or an online order.
Yeah, and the peak time, of course, is in the summer, when we're ordering for the new school year. And there have been times when we haven't been able to get stuff here in time for the start of school because we didn't have the credit line available. So it's something that we need. And anyway,
I am nervous about it, to be totally honest. However, and I asked Steve about the risk. So, like, we wouldn't be, let's say the card is hacked somehow, the bank covers that.
Well, credit cards are better than debit cards for that.
yeah.
And so, it wasn't in my report, but wasn't a huge issue. Well, it's important though. My card, we do have this one that goes to 20, but it's hacked a week and a half ago. Somebody in California had it. I don't remember what the charge was, but this MasterCard place caught it, and they sent us a message. I called them. We sat down with Selena, and so they didn't pay it because it was a red flag to them. And I have no idea because I haven't even used that thing in forever how they hacked my card.
Well, and that kind of points at one advantage to having the two different cards. Also, is if one does get hacked, they cancel it, and you can't use it until you get the new one in the mail in a week or two, or however long it takes. And so that actually, there is a positive side to having the two of them, like the split like that.
Yeah, there's a risk, and it is kind of.
So, I don't mean anything personal by this, playing the devil's advocate. What happens if someone has this and they just go out and charge everything because they're mad at the school or whatever, and then what?
The Attorney General takes over and they take you to, basically end up in jail.
So, if there's only going to be two cards issued, one that you keep, one that I keep, and so when a purchase needs to be made,
well, and I'm gonna get real nosy. Are you gonna lock them up in a safe?
No, I know that's what I was going to just address that. When you say keep, what we do is we lock them up. We won't
But in
have them in
separate places.
Yeah.
Mine, yeah.
I would prefer that.
So hopefully you have a safe in your office you can put stuff like that in.
Yeah. So
Publicly.
they'll be locked up. Those aren't cards we'd take around with us. So.
It's not something y'all are going to keep in your wallets. Is the point?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but that one also caught my attention, and there is a tiny risk, but even if some kind of false charge, it would be backed up by the bank.
Yeah.
And they catch them sometimes when they'll hack them.
And we'll be able to maintain this good enough and not get a bunch of crazy charges and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. And we do. It would be hard for a false or fraudulent charge to get.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about that.
What's that?
Late fees and all that other stuff that we've not been.
The idea is to get it set up so we can do all this online, and we've already got our accounts through Bank of the West set up online to access them and that kind of thing. So we would want to, we haven't got to that point of getting it set up yet, but we'll get it set up so that we can pay it quickly that way. Because the problem we have is you can't. Right now we can't. In order to, you got to be able to see it online, so you know how much you owe it. So you can go ahead and send them a payment, and that's what we'd be able to do with these cards.
So it could also help in that
pay quicker instead of getting
late charges.
Well, I have a Bank of West one, and I could tell you in about 30 seconds exactly what was on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay as quickly as it charges, though.
Yeah.
it takes sometimes 5 to
If you
7
do it,
days.
if you do it online, like a transfer inside there,
It still takes time.
we're doing it, my wife's pulling off about 24 hours because I'll max mine out on a bunch of supplies. Next day she'll pay it off and we'll do it again.
I'll be darned.
Talking
Mine-
$15,000-$20,000.
Mine's
Because
through Wells
that's
Fargo,
how I
but it
pay
goes
mine
instant now.
Is online and
Mine's instant now. It used to
It
be
may
the
be a
next day, but it's
business
instant.
thing instead of a personal. Yeah, because I'll max it out just to get the points and then pay it off.
well, sounds like everybody's,
Sorry, carry on.
let's call for a
Call
vote.
for the vote. Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes,
Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Motion
that was, everybody was a yes?
yes.
Okay.
My motion that we approve the employee assignments, renewals, volunteer resignations in 5A.
I'll second it.
Hang on, I gotta find it.
We can't do all of them in one shot?
Yeah, 5A.
Oh, we gotta do 5A first.
Probably, but there's one that's
Just
related to board member.
Patterson and,
see them later.
okay, I'm up on A.
Okay,
Who's up on A?
call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes,
Myself, yes.
okay.
I have a motion that we approve the personnel appointments in 5B.
I'll second it.
I have some question. What's the project coordinators? There's 3 of them.
Yeah, it's just the title that they have, but what it is basically an instructor for these after-school drama classes or acting classes for the elementary kids. So we're going to have this after school. It's going to be anti-drug and substance prevention with some drama acting activities.
Okay.
And these are the teachers, for whatever reason, on our thing, we call them project coordinator for the salary match.
Okay. Any other? Call for the vote. Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes,
Do that.
Hmm?
5C.
Oh, yeah. I make a motion that we accept the 5C, the personnel appointments.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Why are we not having teachers doing event work stuff like it used to be?
Yeah, we do. Think that they need some extra help though, like ticket taking and those types of things. And some of it's work experience, but I did not talk to Eric about this today, but I know we still use teachers in several positions.
Okay.
Go for a vote then, Rhonda?
What's that?
We're
Yes.
voting on C. Yes. Karsten?
Abstain.
Yes.
Dayton? Yes.
A motion that we discuss and come up with a calendar and then motion for that one and then vote on it.
Do I have a second? I'll second.
Wait a minute.
He's open for discussion. Six.
Opening it strictly for.
For discussion.
And then when we,
No. Are you saying we're gonna go ahead and,
we'll discuss it, and then when we come up with one that we're gonna
then you're
look
gonna
at,
turn around and move to?
then
do
we'll,
that?
yes, then we'll motion to
And who
do
seconded it?
Andrew,
Oh,
right?
You was me.
Oh, sorry, it was Dayton. I apologize.
You have,
I vote 148.
Exactly the way it is.
so you have 3 attached here, and I wrote up a little bit of information. 148, real similar to what we have this year. Not a full week at Thanksgiving, but it's the start date a little bit later, like it was August 4th. 148 is August 3rd start.
I've got it on the screen.
The only difference with the 149 is we took out Columbus Day. For an added instructional. So survey information, I think you guys all have. Appreciate Julie Strong's work with this. Well,
148 is what we currently have, right? 149 is just,
taking away the Columbus Day.
147 does have the Thanksgiving off.
you know what my attitude is. You want your kids off the week of Thanksgiving? Call it a ditch day. The teachers want it off? Call it vacation day.
You can't. They can't.
We had, just
The day before.
for discussion point, I did get a report that we had a lot of absences that year. Doesn't mean we don't try and encourage the kids to come and maybe send out a letter to parents that, hey, don't let your kids talk you into not coming or something like that, you know?
So I personally don't necessarily care what day they start on, but one of the biggest things I noticed on this, whatever this is called, survey, biggest number was starting school on Mondays.
But none of the calendars match it.
But yeah, none of the calendars seem to match that. So if that's something that the public wants, is school starting on Monday, that may be something that we try to consider with making the calendar.
When you look at that question in context, I mean, when you're asked that question, it makes sense that Monday is the best option to start school. But, you know, they didn't have, I mean, why would it start on Tuesday, or why would it start on Wednesday, meaning you had 2 extra days of summer, with, you know, a more specific question, we could have got different results, I think is all I'm trying to say. Maybe not. I took the survey and I thought, when I took it, I was like, hey, and I took it before I drafted the calendar. I thought Monday makes the most sense to me to start school on a Monday. So.
But you start school on, when do the teachers come back in? Is it on
Usually
Monday?
2 days earlier.
So they
So
come
if
in,
we started on Monday, then the teachers have to start on Wednesday. And I don't think that was made clear, was it, on this survey?
I think that, speaking for myself on the survey, I think there was some things that was learned for in the future, better questions to word things different. Because when, speaking for myself again, when you word a question, you know exactly what you're saying. So the person reading it should know exactly what you know, but that doesn't work that way. So I think in the future, there's a way to word some things to get maybe more specific details instead of as general as it could be.
But yeah, I hear you, Dayton, loud and clear. But I mean, now if we were to ask everyone that took the survey, would you like to go to school 2 more days into the year just to start on Monday? They may say, no, we don't want that. Or something.
One thing that we could easily do on the 148-day calendar is move the start date to that Monday and take those 2 days off for Thanksgiving. That would be easy.
Okay, well, I have something that's a pet peeve of mine.
What's that?
Personally, I think hunting and 4-H are more important than Thanksgiving. I've always, and excuse me, there's one more thing. Roundup in the spring and Roundup in the fall. Those are things that kids are going to be doing the rest of their lives.
I will have to say, my kids are in 4-H, and if you talk with the principal and say, hey, this is what they do, and they give you an excused absence and work with you, they don't let you out of you, but they basically treat you like as if you're up front with them. They treat it like as if it's a sports program. They kind of report back to the principal.
My point is, that's what's important to me.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving week is what's important to Karsten. I don't care about Thanksgiving week.
I just yank my kids out when I want.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I agree, and that was part of wanting to
Right.
do this survey. And it's hard to see in the survey, but in this, there is a little bit of a wanting Thanksgiving week off more than there has been in the past. That I think, and more schools are doing it. I think it is kind of a movement in that direction. So
I think that the teachers would prefer their week to start on a Monday, not on a Wednesday.
I agree.
You know, that's just as far as I think concerning the employees. And I don't know if I just think as an employer, it's easier to say, you come in on Monday, then we'll bring the rest of or students in on Wednesday, than to come in on Thursday, get riled up, and then cool off and start back up again. But that would be more an administration concept. Have any comments on that, Mr. Moser?
On starting school on a Monday, on August 1st. The teachers are going to be there to prepare for the kids. They like those 2 days before. Start on Wednesday.
What?
Yeah, he said teachers on Monday.
They like to be there, getting their classes ready on Monday and Tuesday, and have them start Wednesday. That's a good time to start for teachers.
Well, and that's something too. So you want to turn around and say, okay, teachers, you cut 2 days, you cut the last weekend of your summer vacation so you can come in on Wednesday and Thursday, the 27th and 28th of July, because we're already, down to 2 months of summer vacation. So let's cut it down some more. Because I've heard from a lot of parents that they don't like that the summer is so short.
yeah. And that is honestly one of the reasons I've tried to push to lower the number of school days.
Well,
within reason, and still meet the thing, but give it a little bit more summer. Because that is the exact same thing I've heard from a lot of parents is you're taking away our summer.
We can give more summer by just giving them Thursday off on Thanksgiving, though. There's a give and take, and there's no.
There is, and like I've told a whole bunch of people that have talked to me about the calendar, if you gave a blank calendar to 100 people and said, make your ideal calendar for next year, you'd get 100 different calendars back.
I think you'd get a lot of blanks because most of them just go, I would.
If they had to fill it out.
Oh, I tell you, I ain't doing it. That ain't my job. Let Brian do it. That's his job.
Not necessarily a fun thing to.
That's exactly right. Are we ready to vote?
We're not voting because we don't have
them.
But I'll make a motion that we go ahead and accept a 148 day calendar year for the upcoming 22-23 school year. Yeah.
Yep. The one presented on the board packet.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you saying?
I make a motion we accept the 148 as presented.
Oh, I understood which one. I just didn't understand how you were saying it.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Call for the vote.
Yes, sir.
Andrew?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes?
Myself? No.
It's all in your hands, big boy.
Oh, man. Well,
Can we table?
We have before because we couldn't come to a conclusion.
I just don't know how soon you have to have the calendar figured out.
Right. They wanted to have.
It's just, it's a lot of work, and the later it goes, it means it's working overtime, so to get it done. So they want it done.
You want a quarter?
I don't know.
I'm not necessarily opposed to 148, but I'm also not convinced that we need to go an extra 4 days above our minimum. So that's a whole other week of school. We're talking about long summers, we're talking about all kinds of other things to do with that.
Now an extra 4 days above the minimum.
The minimum was 144.
So our option, so you're saying that
And I'm not saying I want to go to the minimum.
so the other option is the 147, 1 day less.
Or we can do whatever
We can do
Scratch and start all
Or
over
we can
again.
do whatever we want.
We have had a 145-day calendar.
Well, I say you keep the extra in there, and if the parents have the ultimate, whatever they want to do with the kids, they got 10 days, they can yank them out. I mean, you can make up the 4 days yourself for you and your household. Not trying to be mean or nothing, but that power does rest with the parents.
It does.
They have those 10 days. And so if they want to say, hey, look, I want those extra 4 days for my family, that's a household choice.
But to me, it's different than them taking them now. It's our teachers, staff teaching extra. It's our taking kids from, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm myself. Those are the things I look at it
Okay.
also.
Let me bounce this question. On the contract, if they cut down 4 days, does it cut down 4 days of pay?
Nope.
Classified.
It could if you wanted to, but
No, I'm not saying I want to. I'm just saying.
we haven't done it in the past. So what it does cut down is the classified staff. So we'll be missing a week of pay if you cut it down like that. So, and you know, and that's important.
But we could also say if you need these hours for this week because that's what it's been in the past.
Well, you can't do that with aides, and that's. I mean, it's hard to do that.
If they were willing to do custodial other things, there's hours that they could. Hypothetically, we could fix things so that they could.
Okay, so we're supposed to be voting, not discussing.
Can I throw out?
Sure. I mean, I'm probably not.
I don't have to.
But yeah, I don't
Already written. I don't know what the percentage is. Probably 40% of our student population, they don't have a family. School is all they've got.
Do what?
The school is all some kids have. They don't have. They live with their grandparents. They live at the Naomi house. School is all they've got.
An extra 4 days of socialization for them.
Good point.
Not just socialization. No, education is a valuable thing. And I think we've got a good thing going.
Well, if we're gonna keep discussing instead of voting,
I'm gonna vote yes based on the fact that it seems as though on the survey that 148 the highest number.
well, I was just gonna let you know, I'm only gonna go up on how many days I want.
Next one to the table is 140, 150, huh?
The 149 calendar.
Let's just keep adding to it.
Send her to buy the car.
Thank you, guys.
Where is my other papers?
We got next agenda item.
Is it just discussion or is,
No, this is,
okay. You want me to go ahead?
yeah.
I motion that we discuss and possibly approve, I motion that we approve the changes to policies GCH, IMB, JLCB, and regulations GBG,
Back it up one to the
R, and JLCBR.
Say that again, please.
You want to write all of it down?
No, it's already written down. I just was picking at you. I'll second it, just because I picked at him.
Okay, so my recommendation is the governing board, if you don't want to adopt it because the ASBA wrote it up, that's what we had last month here. The questions came up. My recommendation is this. So for that first policy, GCH, the only thing that would need to be changed is the reference to the law. So it's because the one law was ruled unconstitutional. The next one, IMB, do not remove those red line portions. Those red line portions had to do with something that I believe the board wanted to keep in.
Okay, so,
So you got to kind of reference both of these at the same time to get to see what. I did put the page numbers on there so that. And the next one, JLCB, and the company regulation there, don't remove the red line portion that they recommended to remove, because that, you know, believe that you may want to keep that in there. And then the last one, do not remove that red line portion on, with the exception to the law that's on page 5.
I can
Okay.
pull each of those
Yeah,
pages.
pull them up now.
so we need to make an amendment to our motion
Maybe.
to go along with how he specified.
As presented in there.
Okay.
That's what I did motion.
So Steve will get going here on so the first part is kind of the summary, but moving on to this first one, so that we would leave in, according to what I just read, with the exception of that ARS 15-342.05, that has to be taken out, that part.
Yeah, you can't reference a law that's not there.
Right.
But as a school, we can say we're not going to make you wear a mask.
Right. So we could leave the red line portion in that policy if that's what the board wants. I think with little to no risk.
Meaning that they don't have to wear them.
Yeah, that we would keep a law or a rule saying that we would not require student or teacher to.
Because our rule overrides that.
So we would have a policy that we cannot do require a vaccine or a mask if we leave that in there.
We basically say the district may not require student or teacher to receive, et cetera, instead of legal reference.
ASBA said to take that out, and we can leave it in there if you all would like to. There could be some kind of consequence in the future, depending on.
But it's also as easy as which I really don't want to do, another board meeting to put it back in if we're to start to worry about it, right? They're not going to make you get a mask or get a shot. That's your business. The ARS is just a state law that backs up, which there is no state law telling us one way or the other, basically now. We're saying Joe City Schools says
We won't.
we won't. Not the governor, because when the ARS, that was when the governor said it. You know, the governor couldn't say it. We can.
And then moving on, so that we leave that one in, and that one would be taken out because it's just a financial penalty, so we wouldn't.
Okay,
penalize
but
ourselves.
back up, that one that you just said we'd leave in, if it's been negated at the state level, why would we leave it in?
Because we decide at a local level that we don't want to require this, would be the reason.
Mask or.
Yeah, but wasn't that the whole reason why you said you wanted to leave it in? Is because you didn't want to keep putting things in, taking things out? Was that?
I want to leave it in there because that's how the basis of Joseph City really thinks, just because you walk around town and count your math. You know.
But my concern is, as stipulated in ARS, blah, 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 that no longer exists. So we are keeping something in there that is false.
Well, that'd be like saying it's just our personal policy, not a state policy. So that'd be like saying we're going to go for 148 days. That's our, or 149.
I understand that, but what I'm telling you, by leaving that in there, we are leaving something in there that's not true because it has been negated at the state level.
Not true for the governor, but for our local.
We can have a local rule that says it.
The governor can't say it, but we can.
As stipulated in Arizona revised statute.
So when I revise this in our official policy, I'll take out that Joseph City School District will not require or may.
Okay, as long as it's not referring to the Arizona, because that's false.
Okay, I see what you're saying, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it staying in there. I'm fine with that. But we can't refer to something that's false.
Yeah, so it's ours, not theirs.
Right.
And I should have clarified that, but that's my intention is to, when I take that out, I have to rephrase the sentence, so.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This one is a financial penalty, so we would just go ahead and remove that one. Because we wouldn't want
Okay, this is, IMB.
to. So this one here, we would leave in. So that would be left in if this motion carries. All right, Keith.
You might need to change the wording a little bit to, when you say may not use public monies for instruction. That's kind of a legal, constitutional thing. We might want to reword that just a little bit, but basically to say the same thing. I mean, it's not up to us to decide what you can and can't spend
But
money for. That's a legal, that's a statutorial defined thing.
but we're gonna say we're not doing the,
Yeah.
all the other things. that are in it.
Yeah, right. So
However,
there may be a little bit of tweaking there, but yeah. Okay. We okay? Moving
Yeah.
on.
We reviewed all of that. That's actually referenced in a law already. So, we put it as part of the packet last. Go ahead, keep going down. This one right there. So once again, we would remove the reference to the ARS number, but leave everything else in there.
That's okay.
This is
Yeah, immunization.
oh, it means a student, yeah.
I think that was it. There might be one more. Okay. That same thing, we remove the reference to statutes, leave everything else in there, reformat it.
That's it.
Okay. Call for the vote. Rhonda?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
I motion that we approve the changes to the pay rates for substitutes and bus drivers.
No second.
Okay, yeah, have some.
Yeah, there's things attached with it. Along with the minimum wage changes that'll happen in January, I'm recommending that the governing board give a 50-cent per hour raise to bus drivers, including Dale, who supervises them. And then for the substitutes, it comes to, do you have exactly, oh, he's got it pulled up here. So the base bottom would be an increase of $1.20. Just trying to stay competitive, and for the substitutes that we're short on substitutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I understand we've had some real problems already this year, so we need to do what we can to help the.
Mr. Mosier's covered several classes.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller, Mr. Bushman, instruction.
The most common rate that we pay out is this daily rate, this column here, but where I'm kind of moving my pointer around. That's so 96 would go from $96 to 105, 113. You know, that's the one we pay out the most on that rate.
We don't have many subs that have the teacher certification with the bachelor's degree.
On the bus driver pay rate, it says 50 cents per hour, but it shows the 16.50 to 17.50.
But it shouldn't now. I changed it.
Oh, maybe I need.
That was a typo.
Okay. Which one is it? The 16.50 that it's starting at, so it's up to 17.
Up to 17.
Okay.
I
just didn't know which direction it.
Yeah, no, that was
Is that our base bus driver pay, or is that and so they go up?
That's the base. And so if you have more experience, then
Okay.
it's gonna be 50 cents more than whatever it is you're making.
Okay. So they would all go up, including the base. Okay.
Yes.
Any other Discussion? Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm impressed you guys can get people at that rate. I can't.
I motion that we approve do we need to specify a bus or approval to buy a bus or 2 buses or?
Let me see what I wrote here.
A travel bus and a route
At
bus.
the time we wrote this, we
We would like board authorization to purchase of 2 buses.
Okay.
And we got the range here attached.
So if we just vote to buy the travel bus and the route bus, then that's all we need to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're actually all 3 bus companies are on purchasing co-ops, so that the bidding has already been done. But there's pages of specifications that we have to look at and compare, and we just got the final bid a few days ago, and so it's just going to take us a little more time. And so we got to look through there and kind of make them
We
comparable.
want to talk to at least, if not our
And then-
in-house mechanic, but
Yeah, and even then, there's things like, gee, this one has a little bit thicker steel, it's a little safer than that. There's just a lot of things we have to look at and weigh and say, okay, this is the least expensive one, let's go with it, or this one's a little bit more bad, we get this much more for our money, that's the one we're going to go with.
So what are we talking?
But we still need to get a motion.
Yeah.
the least expensive one for
What's the
like
most?
the activity.
Well, the motion would be to authorize the purchase
Yeah.
of 2 buses.
That's the one.
that's what you said.
220.
But I never
Oh, wait a second.
got
Oh,
done
you
with the
never
whole thing,
finished
so I
it?
was asking him what.
Well, then how come?
And the
Oh, that's
engines
why I
are
don't
the same on those
Duh.
2.
So what are we saying? And I'll second it
49.
as recommended by the
Yeah.
administration.
That we purchase a route bus and a,
Yeah, I
would
said that.
okay,
A route bus.
so
and
you're
a-
second it?
That's Virgil.
Yeah, I'll second it, Julie.
Okay.
Travel and a route bus as
What engine?
recommended.
There's coming.
By the way, all 3 of them have the exact same engine coming. They all have I think, Allison transmissions, all 3 of them.
Okay, so I feel about this the same way I do about the vehicles. They need to get it done.
What does that
Right.
do for our INSER funds?
ESSER funds. But did I have another typo there?
No,
Take a
I'm-
chunk out of it.
Yeah, and the problem is unless they happen to have one in stock, we're up to a year out
Yeah.
before we take delivery, and we only have so much time to spend that ESSER money, so that we are kind of anxious to get it underway.
Yeah,
And once you buy it, it's locked in the price.
Yes,
They're not going to sit there and,
right, and of course prices will go up.
Yep.
The first of the year.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be, you pay the price once it's delivered. Sorry.
Right.
The last
One of these companies have one in stock that it's only like $1,000 more, and I think it has a better AC. We might go with that one if we have the flexibility from the board to go with not the lowest bid.
Yeah, so I'm fine with it.
I'm good with them making the decision, just like with the cars.
Yes.
So call for the vote. Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes,
Dayton? Andrew?
evaluation.
The superintendent. Do we want to go into executive session for that?
I don't.
You call for a motion to go executive or
To just vote on it. To give it to them.
Okay. Is there any discussion that we need? Oh, I motion that we do the superintendent evaluation.
I'll second it.
What?
Andrew.
usually done in December. That's why it's not tied to the performance pay like those other ones are.
Well, I'll say everything that I have against him, I've already hashed out with him. How's that?
Okay.
Any other comments?
Yes.
Very happy. Continue continues to exceed expectation, in my opinion. So we need to give him flying colors and money we need to give him and keep moving on.
I think this is attached.
Some money attached to this one.
I don't think there is. It's not a part of the 5%.
It's not any money this time?
It's not part of the 5% thing.
It's just an opportunity for us to rag on him.
Okay, well, then I
In a
don't want
public
him, I don't want him having too much to do with Bill Gates.
Can you make sure you put that in for your next report?
Yes.
We didn't contact Bill Gates.
I said too much.
Oh,
I had directed him to call him on the track.
well, I guess you can't go hang out at his house for Christmas.
So do we need to vote on that, or?
On accepting it, I guess.
Okay.
Nothing was written or completed in the form.
So myself, yes. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Okay, discussion items. Is there anything that we need to have anybody bring back to us or discuss? Request for future agenda items. Upcoming events. The next regular board meeting is the 11th. We also need to do a soft post or whatever, because some of us will be at the conference, right?
There's only 2 of you going to be there. So.
Okay, so we don't need to do anything?
Form, but if we could get a report back from any of the sessions that you guys would be willing to share, that'd be great.
Okay. I motion that we adjourn the meeting, the time being 7:25.
1 second.
Okay, call for the vote. Myself, yes. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Aye.
Rhonda?
Are we adjourning or did we
Yeah.
accept the next date?
It's, I don't
All
know.
the above.
You don't have to vote on it.
We don't have to vote on it.
Who seconded it?
Dayton seconded it.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
SF